Hi, Happy New Year. I'm E.D. Lewis, and welcome back to my channel. This week I'm actually, this time, I don't know how long, I don't know when exactly I'm going to do each video, but I'm going to try and do them at least every once in a while. Maybe every week, maybe every couple weeks, maybe a couple times a month. I don't know yet. But this time around, I'm actually going to do a review. So this time we're doing the review of Henry James, The Turn of the Screw. Yep, that's the first Gothic we're going to review for my channel. So, if you have not read Henry James, The Turn of the Screw, I am not going to spoil the book for you, or novella, or whatever you want to call it. But I will give a quick shout out to, there is a new film adaptation coming out later this month, I think it's the 24th or something like that, called The Turning. Excuse me. And my phone just dinged, by the way. There have been many also adaptations of this story. I've only seen one adaptation, though, myself, and that was the 1973 or 74 TV film that was done by Dan Curtis, the creator of Dark Shadows. Netflix, I've heard, is going to be doing an adaptation called The Haunting of Bligh House, and Bligh House is the house setting for Henry James' novel, or novella. Anyway, without any more further ado, let's get started. And I have my notes off to the side here. So anyway, Henry James' Turn of the Screw is a Gothic story. It is also a ghost story. It was published in 1898, so it was during the Victorian refurbishing of Gothic, so when things became more urbanized, and they started dealing with more urban fears, and the Gothic did its major transformation. So, the characters in this story are, there's a housekeeper whose name escapes me at the moment, there's two children, which in Gothic stories, children often bring about a sense of tension. So that really helps with the story. Flora and Miles. Flora's the little girl, Miles is a little older, but they're still pretty young. And there's the Governess. And pretty much that's the main characters besides the ghosts, or even ghosts, of Peter Quint and Miss Jessel, the previous Governess. And Peter Quint was the steward of the house, and or valet. And he died mysteriously, and so did Miss Jessel around the same time, and I don't think it's ever revealed how, but that's not a major spoiler, so. Anyway, this Governess is hired, the story begins with an unnamed narrator who is at a friend, Douglas's house, on Christmas Eve, and he or she, along with a group of people, I do believe, are listening to this narrative that he talks about that he has, that was written by a woman who used to be a governess, who the governess' name is also unnamed. But she begins her story by saying, because obviously it's been years past since then, that this was, I think, one of her first jobs as a governess, I do believe. I think. And this man who is hiring her, he lives in London. He doesn't leave London much. He has a house called Bligh House, but he never goes there. He hires her because he doesn't really want to take care of the kids. His niece and nephew, whose parents have died. It doesn't really say how long ago, but at least a while ago, because they had a previous governess already. And he tells her not to, send any communication. So basically he doesn't really care. He's just like, I'm hiring you and you're just going to do this job and I don't care. We never see him again, but he's mentioned a couple different times. But the house is out in the country. It's called Bligh House, and when she gets there, it's just the little girl. And the little boy, Miles, is at boarding school, but sometime he, like a few weeks or so into it, he comes back. And he's been dismissed from school. He's been expelled. They don't want him back anymore. So it's kind of a who knows why. That's one of the mysteries of why did he get, sacked from school. there's a letter sent that, that they're sending the boy back, during this holiday vacation, but they don't want him to come back, and they never say why. So the governess, is so charmed by the boy, so she never asks why, until, like, close to the end. So these strange visitors seem to appear out of nowhere and come and go as they wish. At first they start from afar. She sees them on, like, her first night is the ghost of Peter Quint. And she sees him again at the window, and he just kind of stares in and walks past and disappears. And she tells the maid about it, or housekeeper, and the housekeeper says that sounds like Peter Quint from the description. She tells her about Peter Quint, and that he used to favor the boy, and so he'd go off with the boy and spend so much time with the boy. And also the girl Flora would spend so much time with Miss Jessel, who was their old governess. And Peter Quint and Miss Jessel were like this. So it doesn't really imply what the relationship was. So it could have been something romantic, could have been sexual, who knows. It's never elaborated upon. So later on she sees the ghost of Miss Jessel when she's out with Flora at the pond, or lake, or whatever. And so she ends up finding out then that Miss Jessel had died. Mysteriously, she went away too and had died, just like Peter Quint had gone away and died. And so, I don't think they say what hers was, except for Peter Quint had died, like, in the street. He was, like, they assume he'd been attacked, or because he liked to drink. So they assume he was murdered, probably. Or an accident happened. But, so she becomes more and more paranoid, the governess. And so there's been a lot of debate about, were these ghosts real, or they were all in her head? You can make what you want from it. It's up to you. But I think the ghosts are real for a couple reasons. Which one of the reasons happens toward the ending. It's something Miles the boy says. And that, she's able to describe these people she's never even seen before. And nobody's told her what the descriptions are. And so, when the housekeeper confirms it, it kind of leads that, yeah, she's seeing something. But the ghosts never speak. They never utter a single word. And a lot of people... Oh, I already mentioned that. But I think a lot of people think that for one reason. I also think that she's just crazy and she's getting really paranoid, which she is. I think a lot of it is paranoia, but there might be something there. But I don't want to give too much away, so you'll have to read the story to find out, or listen to an audio, whatever. So, I've seen only one adaptation of this. I'm going to go see The Turning later this month, and it looks freaky. The only version I've seen is the Dan Curtis one from the 70s for television, and they added in a lot of stuff. They inferred that Miss Jessel and Peter Quint had a sexual relationship, and they might have done some of their sexual escapades in front of the children, and so it's inferred that, the children have been corrupted by them. She kind of thinks that in the story anyway, that they've been somehow corrupted. They don't say why. But it's left to your imagination. I think I think that's a viable possibility that maybe they've corrupted them that way somehow. But they also play all kinds of tricks on her, and they infer even more so. They amp up the paranoia that they do see the ghosts, and they're aware of them. And there's a couple other frightening instances that are not in the book, that they come up with, but I thought it was pretty good. Some people, I've heard, people who'd seen it at the time I saw it, because I saw it when I was in high school, said it was kind of boring, but I've read reviews on it since, and they, think it's one of the best adaptations next to, the movie The Innocents. It was, from, I don't even know when, it was, the 40s or 50s, I think, and I haven't seen that adaptation. That's, I guess, one of the best. That was, a major movie production on black and white. But I guess it's the one I've seen is one of the better ones that people like. So, but that's my review. So check out Henry James, Turn of the Screw. Check out The Turning later this month, coming to a theater near you. That's pretty much it. Please like and subscribe. Leave comments, questions. If you've read it, please tell me. Tell me what you thought of it. Give your opinions. Are the ghosts real? Are the ghosts, her imagination? Is she crazy? Tell me what you think. Please comment. I haven't gotten too many comments yet. I'm still a fairly new YouTuber, but, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you here next time. I'm trying to get a review together for Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. And I want to do The Monk, but I'm waiting to do The Monk, because recently I went through The Monk, and gosh, that's a crazy story. So, please leave your comments. Subscribe. Happy New Year. See ya. Bye.